Michelangelo was a millionaire who disliked baths. Michelangelo was notoriously frugal. He hoarded his earnings like a dragon guards its treasure. When he died, he left behind a fortune. It would be worth about $35 million today. That's not what you'd expect from a starving artist. Michelangelo was rich, but he lived like a hermit. He rarely changed his clothes. When he died, his boots were stuck to his feet. They had to peel them off like an orange. It sounds disgusting. And there's more. Michelangelo apparently hated baths, but there was no denying his talent. He was so talented that his rivals once sabotaged him. Other artists, including the great Raphael, felt threatened. They convinced Pope Julius II to hire Michelangelo to paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling. They thought he would fail. After all, he was just a sculptor. Michelangelo took on the job. He had never painted a fresco before. For 4 years, he lay on his back. Paint dripped in his eyes. But he didn't give up. The Sistine Chapel ceiling is still inspiring today. Speaking of the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo left a little surprise there. Look closely at the Last Judgment fresco. See that flayed skin held by Saint Bartholomew? The face on it belongs to none other than Michelangelo himself. Michelangelo's talents weren't limited to the visual arts. He was also a poet. He wrote over 300 poems. Many of them were quite passionate. They explored themes of love and desire. Many people don't know that Michelangelo was a military engineer. In 1527, he designed fortifications for Florence. This city was at war. Michelangelo's designs helped defend it for months. Michelangelo was picky about his materials. He often traveled to quarries to select his own marble. Here's a surprising fact. Michelangelo once made a fake ancient statue. A patron suggested he make a sculpture look old. They sold it as an antique. The buyer later found out and got his money back. Despite his fame, Michelangelo rarely signed his work. He believed his style was unique enough people would know it was his. Michelangelo was indeed one of a kind. As a teenager, he got into a fight with a jealous classmate. The fight left Michelangelo with a broken nose. His face was disfigured for life, but it gave him a unique profile. Michelangelo famously had a rivalry with Leonardo da Vinci. They were both asked to paint battle scenes in the same hall. Neither finished their work. Despite his quirks and quarrels, Michelangelo was deeply loved. People called him Il Divino. This means the Divine One. Unlike many great artists, he enjoyed fame and admiration during his lifetime. 9 different popes hired him for various projects. Michelangelo's work ethic was legendary. Even in his late 80s, he kept sculpting. He was still chiseling away at a Pietà just days before he died. In February 1564, Michelangelo fell. It was probably the flu. He knew his time was short, so he asked to be taken back to Rome. Michelangelo wanted to die in the city he loved. He spent his final days at home, surrounded by friends and students. He was 3 weeks shy of his 89th birthday.